Hi, this is Jolynn from One Heart TV, and I'm excited to bring an old friend here that I videotaped, I think in 2020 possibly, but
Yeah.
she's back. She's back. I threw out and I casted her in, and I really want to get an update on health. She's my health and wellness go-to. This is Zara.
Thank you. Hi, Jolene.
Hi there. How are you today?
Today's good. Yeah, today's a good day. It's a nice day. The weather actually cooled from being very, very hot to like a very pleasant place. So it feels nice.
So you're back east?
I'm in South Carolina. Yeah, Southeast.
Yeah, that can
Yep.
be a little hot. I'm on the coast here in California. A little difference, but I'm glad that we're back on. And you know, there's been a lot of changes these last few years. Maybe I should just let you explain what you do so they understand why I have you on.
I work in the realm of holistic health, and I assist a lot of people in achieving better health, overcoming illnesses, chronic illnesses. I actually work with a lot of cancer patients, helping them with alternative therapies and other methods for reaching their goals and becoming cancer free, and helping just a lot of people in that whole world beyond cancer as far as their health needs, their health goals, and educating them as well about different ways that they can create a healthier lifestyle and empower themselves with better health and happiness. And so I do a lot of online meetings, consultations. I help lead some classes, workshops, organize some retreats occasionally, do some teaching and education through writing, and I run a couple online private groups assisting people kind of behind the scenes that way as well. And so that's about the sum of what I've been up to these days.
Now, why I reached out to you is a good friend of mine got a hold of you at one time locally, and you healed yourself of cancer. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, I've been cancer free for about 16 years now. And so I had cancer while I was living, I got diagnosed with cancer while I was living in Costa Rica, which I lived in Costa Rica in Central America for a little over 15 years. And so my journey with healing cancer took place in the mountainous area surrounded by rainforest in a part of Costa Rica. And yeah, I used all natural methods. I never, other than an initial surgery, to remove part of the cancerous area, which actually then I had some regrowth after that. I never did any of the conventional treatments. And so I did a very intensive personal treatment for myself that was successful. And so ever since then, that's been a bit of one of my passions. I have many passions, but that's one of them is really learning about how we can get over and get through and get beyond that type of diagnosis. And it definitely doesn't have to be a death sentence. And over the years, I've figured a lot of things, learned a lot of things, still am learning a lot of things, and help others with what I've learned and what I've seen work and what I know will work well for them. And so I do see a lot of success with a lot of these people. It's really inspiring. And
I love that. I really do. So many of my friends these last few years have come down with cancer, and this is not a joke.
oh
And
no,
you know what I'm talking about. And so people are reaching out because the regular conventional modalities are not working. They
yeah.
might give them a little hope and then it falters. So I've been throwing out some things, not to just focus on healing cancer today. I think I want to do kind of an envelope thing, and it maybe really reach out to you in regards to, you've seen the last several years. Um, is there more an uptick of people being ill recently?
Yeah, huge,
Huge.
huge, more than I've ever seen. My background is in traditional Chinese medicine, herbalism, nutrition, neurofeedback. I've worked in various clinics, wellness centers, and used, my talents and my training in different capacities. And I've had many years of working in this realm and seeing people's health. And I've never seen anything like I have in the last, I would say, 5, 6 years. The increase in illnesses, physical illnesses, mental health illnesses, It's huge. I think there's a lot of things behind that, but I think in the last several years, some of the things that were brought to the table and people used in their own physical bodies has made a huge difference, has made a big change, not in the better ways.
No.
And to
Yeah.
that, a lot of things beyond that, just the food supply and the agriculture and the stress and all these other things that are taking a toll on human health.
When people are coming to you, do you think they're a little bit more educated? You know, people are turning away from the conventional modalities
Mhm.
because they're not working.
Right.
And it's fearful when you're in this. So my question is, um, there's other means. Would one be a kickstart with just food changes?
I think that's an essential place to start. It's a foundation to the healing. You know, what we put in as far as our fuel is what's going to nourish us and give us energy or not nourish us and perhaps even take energy. So food can heal and food can hinder and food can harm. And so if we have a good, healthy diet and we really understand good nutrition and good food choices, that is definitely, I would say, the essential place to start. You know, it's very difficult to heal anything if there's not good nutrition coming into the body.
Well, I've heard the microbiome is the big class of what people are discovering. Can you explain a little bit about what that is for people who don't know?
Yeah, well, the microbiome is it's the environment within our gut that it harbors a lot of bacteria, hopefully mostly good bacteria. The flora and fauna of the gut and the health of the gut, it determines the strength of our immune function. About 80, maybe even 90% of our immune function is created in our gut. And about 70 to 80% of both of our serotonin and our dopamine is created in our gut. Serotonin and dopamine have a lot to do with how we feel, our moods, and how our emotional health is. And so without, a good level of emotional well-being and without a good level of immune function, we're not going to do very well. And so what goes on in the gut, in the microbiome is essential. What we eat and what we drink, the things we put into ourselves that go through that digestive tract are going to make a big difference. Also, I'm a big proponent of doing regular detoxification on the body. Doesn't have to be a super heavy, intensive thing that takes you far out of your life and all that, but simple, gentle things that we can do to help clear toxins and by doing that, we lighten our load. And so with the gut, there's a lot of things we can do to help have a better environment, a better microbiome. Things like fasting, different teas, different herbs, different gentle detox therapies to improve that, to take away the things we don't want to accumulate, and then be cautious and conscious of what we're ingesting to put the things in there we want. And so if we have a good, healthy microbiome and we have a good, healthy gut, we're going to have a really strong immune function, and it's going to be harder for us to get sick.
Makes
And we're going to have better mental health too. There's
right.
a big correlation. I'm also trained and licensed in something called neurofeedback, where we work with people's brains and brain waves. And there are so many things that we can help people with by making simple adjustments to how the brain waves are functioning. But one thing I've seen very clearly is the correlation between brain health and our mental health and our gut health. Many of the people that deal with very serious or complex mental health disorders have really poor gut health. And just even starting there, healing the gut, changing the diet, all of that, like we're talking about, they can start to be in a place where they have more easy time healing and seeing the changes that they want to see.
I've noticed it in myself. That's why I ask and I've paid attention to it. I'm very aware of what triggers me and what doesn't. Uh, just to give a little minor story, I was out and about and I thought I'd get an ice cream as a treat from McDonald's. And I went, ooh, a little cheeseburger. I don't eat there ever, ever, ever. My gut actually felt horrible later. The food quality of these
Yeah.
fast food places is all I can say is I was really reminded, really
Yeah. And
how
it's good, probably. It's probably good. Sometimes we need those reminders to just like bring us back on tracks, like, oh yeah, keep on my path.
well, I know that intermittent fasting is a big part of just getting started. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been intermittent fasting for a very, very long time. Mostly because I would say my early teenage years, I just realized I didn't really like eating breakfast. I just didn't have hunger. My mom is the same way. My kids are like that. So I'm not sure why it just kind of runs through all of us. So I've been intermittent fasting long before I knew what intermittent fasting was. And then when I found out it was a thing and there's all this research about the healthy benefits, I was like, wow, that's great. I'm already doing it. So the idea with intermittent fasting is we're eating in a shorter time period. If we're looking at the 24 hours of the day, we're eating in a shorter time period and fasting in a bigger time period. A really classic intermittent fasting schedule would be you're eating within 8 hours and you're fasting for 16 hours. And so what it's doing is when you're, basically skipping maybe breakfast or dinner. So maybe you eat breakfast and lunch and skip dinner, or vice versa, skipping breakfast and eating lunch and dinner. And some people do it even shorter, but most people do it like that, like the 8-16 method. And so, in those times of fasting, you're giving your digestive system a break, you're giving some of those organs a rest. There's more ability for the body to scavenge toxins and get into what's called autophagy, where it's breaking down like dead cells and getting things out of the body that we don't need there, cleaning, gentle detox. Also, when we're fasting, it gives us a little rejuvenation to the body as well. The longer the fast, not as much with intermittent fasting, but longer fasting, you'll start to see things like healthy stem cells stimulation and mitochondrial stimulation and a reboost to the immune system. But even in that intermittent fasting, it's been shown to increase cognitive functioning, to boost the immune system, reduce inflammation, help with kind of resetting the metabolism, goes again or works for people who are dealing with, say, insulin resistance. It can help that a lot. So there's a lot of benefits with it. And going back just for a second to like cancer, there was a study, I know it was like in 2014 on women with breast cancer. And they had half of that group do intermittent fasting as they were going through cancer treatments. And the group that did the intermittent fasting had much better, like far, far better results, way less side effects. And then they tracked them for a while and found that they had longer survival rates. So even something as simple as that can become a powerful ally and help with our health.
That's great. That's really interesting. 2014 was my big crisis period myself. I don't know what was going on, but probably nothing. But my body said, "Oh, no more burning from the inside out." It was horrible. And doctors couldn't do anything. My mouth was burning, my tongue was burning. Um, I ended up, the doctor says for the burning tongue, suck on an ice cube. I don't know. That was the most ridiculous thing. And I had the scope in and the scope done every which way. And it seemed like everything was fine with me, but it wasn't. It was not. So I researched. I researched. And a big help was I found a blog and it said, just 3 days, try it. You'll notice a difference. The burning in your mouth, stop caffeine. And I did because I was desperate and it worked. It worked. So there are some of these wonderful modalities out there. And I'm so happy that you're in this circle of what is approachable, is doable for the everyday person. Now, a lot of people though are in the hurry, to be honest. They've got raising kids, they've got them in everything possible, and they have no time even for themselves. They wonder why they're run down. They wonder why they're sick. Can you share a few things? I'm going to have you back on, of course, but there's so much here. But are there a few things that maybe I really feel like mother needs to be the model for her children. So
Yeah.
anything you can share out there? Hang on one. I have a truck going by and there we go. Okay, I can bleep that out. And so what would you recommend for the mothers? Mothers out there got a busy schedule. Oh my gosh. They're eating on the go.
Yeah, I'd say first of all, I honestly would really encourage them to rethink a little bit what they're doing in their lives. I've raised kids. I've raised kids while working, running projects, and being, very involved with my community and busy, but also not letting it run me ragged. And so, it's really about making conscious choices. And I think, to start, maybe creating some practices to learn to ground and to slow down, maybe with the children every morning before everybody gets busy going to school, going to work, or wherever they're going. Sit together, sit on the ground. If you can sit outside, that would be the nicest to get some earth energy and some grounding with the earth. But even if it's just on the floor, sit together. Close your eyes together for a few minutes. Breathe deep into your abdomens. Ground yourself. Center yourself so you can prepare yourself for your day better, but also start that day with more calm and more of a foundation of groundedness. I think that's an easy thing that almost anybody can be doing. And yes, I think mothers and fathers, they are the models for the children, way more than we know at the time when it's happening. And so anybody who has older children now, you start to see like they were watching us, they were listening, they were paying attention, who we are, all of our choices, everything we do, our habits, our practices, they are learning from us, even if we're not directly teaching and instructing them. So making good, healthy choices in our lives will help our children to have an easier time making good, healthy choices in their lives. And other than that, the grounding, the breathing,
When you say
conscious.
grounding, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, there are different techniques for what's called grounding or earthing. But like I was saying, just sitting on the ground and just centering the self and grounding that energy. So it's not so frenetic. So it's centered and it's gathered together. And you're not kind of just going all in a different directions with your energy. And I think that a lot of people start their days like that, really busy, really fast, really not consciously thinking about what's around them or how their energy is. And they think, they need to build up all this energy for the day. Well, sometimes actually that just groundedness and that centeredness, even though it's a lot calmer, will give you a more sustained energy for the day. And it's going to help you have less stress in your body and help your brain work better, help your heart work better. And so, also I would say a practice of exercise, teaching children to exercise and taking the time, all of ourselves to exercise, even if it's just going on a walk, going on a bike ride, going for a swim. It could be more intensive exercise, or maybe it's doing some yoga together, or dancing together, or playing some soccer together, whatever it is. Doing these physical activities, it's a way to help us decrease stress. It's really good for our immune system. The cardiovascular part of all that with exercise is good for our circulation, for our heart, for our brain. And, there's a lot of research coming in these days around things like exercise, sunshine, fresh air, meditation, all these things I'm talking about, boosting the immune system, increasing natural killer cells, helping boost the serotonin in the body, and all these different things that we can benefit from for our own health and our own mental health. Exercise and doing things like the deep breathing, centering, grounding exercises. This helps calm down the brain. And we live in a world with a lot of stress. A lot of things are coming at us, and there's a lot of stressors, and kids deal with that too. And so teaching them techniques to calm themselves and center themselves and get conscious with their thoughts and actions, it's going to help them navigate the world better. It's going to teach them some skills and practices for maintaining their own peace in the middle of chaos, because there's a lot of chaos out there. So those are some
They're
of the.
they're feeling it vibrationally, aren't they?
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah, they definitely are. I
Yeah.
know they are. I mean, I have a lot of conscious memory of my childhood and my early years, and I was always very sensitive and aware of a lot of things. And I remember feeling the stress of my outer environment and the tensions of the adults and the worries of the world. And so I know very well that now there's even more of that. And the kids coming in are, a lot of them are very aware and very sensitive. They're very special kids that are coming into Earth these days, and they feel that. They feel that. And they're here to help too. But we need to really provide for them the best environments and the best support so they can be the best versions of themselves that they can be and do the work they came to do.
The best versions of themselves. Yep, yep, yep. I totally empathize with that. I just love this. This is just a kickstart to me. This is just getting on the bike and with you. I know there is so much more we can talk about and more in depth. So as I put this up on YouTube, I am going to ask my audience to please share questions that they might have for you that maybe we could run this by if I can pull you back in and talk with
Yeah.
you again. Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me in a few places. I have a website where you can go. I have a blog if you want to read some of the things that I have there. Talks about the different services I offer. It's just my name, Zahrah Sita, ZahrahSita.com. Social media, same name on pretty much all the social media. I'm pretty active on Facebook, do a little bit of Instagram, not a whole lot actually there. And then I have another group I run on Facebook that's called Love Body Detox. And that's a group dedicated to holistic health and natural healing. And we talk about a lot of different things that kind of fit into that into that realm. Those are the main places. When I do things like events, like classes or retreats or something like that, I usually post it publicly, either on the website and on social media. So those
And
are the easiest places to find me right now, unless you live in the neighborhood. Not a lot of people live in my neighborhood. I live pretty rural.
good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Love all the EMFs. That's a whole nother story. I will put everything in the description for those of you that are interested in her work or looking her up or getting her help. This is a woman that has been doing this for how long?
Good question. I mean, I've been working in the realm of holistic health for over 20 years. And so, what I'm doing right now exactly, where I'm meeting, like mostly in the online meetings and things like that, that's been full time at least for the last 5 years, but it was more part time for many years beyond that too. I just had a
20
lot of
years.
other projects and other work for a while. I stopped working clinically about 3 years ago, so that freed up a lot of my time too.
Wonderful. I mean, but here it is, people. She's got a wealth of information. You need to tap into it. That's where I hope One Heart can bring these videos that inform you and can enlighten you and hopefully transform you into decisions to start a change reaction. That's the tag I've had. Start a change reaction. Let it dribble down to those precious little ones that are coming on this earth or are already here. And
Yeah.
I cannot thank you enough for taking your time today. And let's connect back up if the opportunity arises for maybe more regular stuff where people can really get the meat and bones of what we want to help with.
Good.
Does
Yeah.
that sound good to you?
Sounds good to me. Let's do
Oh
it.
my gosh, let's do this. All right. Thank you so much again. And I will put everything in the description and you can also view the last video we did. I think it was in 2020 or 2021. I
A
don't
few
know
years
where
ago.
it goes. I don't know where it goes. Well, thank you again. And you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you. You
All
too.
right. Take care, y'all. Peace, love to everybody out there. And here, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.